Hi, welcome to a preview from horizonrc.com. I'm Jim Booker. Today I've got a subject here that I think is very interesting to an awful lot of modelers. This is a de Havilland Twin Otter. Now, I've got both the product developer and actually the product designer here, the airplane designer, Peter Goldsmith, with me today. Peter's done a lot of work on this airplane, and I think you're going to like to hear what he has to say about it, because this airplane is kind of designed for people that are interested in building a twin-motored airplane. This one can be either electric power or glow power, but it has some features that are designed into it that just make it the right airplane for a guy building his first twin-motored airplane. Peter Goldsmith.
How do you do?
Tell us about the Twin Otter. This thing is very cool. I see an awful lot of neat features on it. And what was your idea about this whole thing? This looks like an interesting airplane for modelers for sure.
Well, often, we want to do something what we call out of the box. And we wanted to do a twin, but we wanted to try and do something that was acceptable to those that have what we call twin fear. Everybody wants a twin, but they're just nervous about the complexity of a twin and the two engines and what happens if one engine stops.
Okay, it can be either electric or glow, right?
Yeah, there was a very interesting design development process with this aircraft, and I believe it was a first where we developed the airplane to fly on electric engines first. It was originally planned to be an E-flight aircraft, and as the development process went along, we thought, this could fit probably better under the Hangar 9 brand. We always intended it for it to be electric or glow. However, the original prototype and the original testing was done under electric power, so there was no kind of compromise done on the electric power supply. It was purely developed as electric and glow aircraft. There's no priority on either type power plant, and we feel that's a unique selling feature, so there's no disadvantage with either power supply.
Now, in terms of features, I know it has plug-in wings, but this has got a significant wingspan. What's the wingspan of this model?
The wingspan is 82 inches.
And how much do you expect it to weigh when it's ready to fly?
Well, this particular aircraft is a glow version, and it weighs 11.5 pounds. It's 11.5 pounds. We usually have a range of weights, plus or minus 10%. So maximum with glow, we would say about 12 pounds, maybe even down to 11 pounds, depending on the material that's chosen in the build. It's very difficult to get it exactly the same every time.
Oh, yeah. Well, in an airplane such as this one, it's not that it's
It's not weight critical. Well, the electric version is around about 12 ounces heavier. Typically, that's normal. And we've flown it at, I typically test things and ballast them for all kinds of, anticipating the weights that could end up. People detail it out and so forth, and it flies very well. In actual fact, we flew one at around about 14.5 pounds, and it flew just as well as this one at 11.5.
And glow, what size engines?
We're using the little Evolution .36 engines, which are just a gem of a little engine. I've put no effort. In actual fact, these engines were thrown in and test flown all on the same day. There was no tune-up, no pre-run, no running in. They were literally thrown in, and we had to fly it as a demonstration for a dealer council that we hold at Horizon. And they just ran perfectly for hours. I think you were there. We just flew it and flew it and flew it and flew it.
Now, as a glow installation, it makes an awfully clean setup. You've got the cylinder head sticking out just a little bit, so it makes a really clean installation. The needle valves are easily accessible. Fuel tank. So overall, it looks like it works out pretty well. I imagine with electric, it's really clean. Of course, there's nothing hanging out.
Of course, yeah. Well, it's believe it or not, a lot of thought went into the orientation of the engine. What is the most practical to improve the aesthetics, but the functionality for the user? Is the needle valve going to be underneath? Is the cylinder head hanging out the side? Is the muffler in the wrong place? So we sat down in CAD and we kept rotating the engine until we felt like, that pleases as many parties as possible.
What about this airplane? How does it come out of the box?
Well, it comes pre-hinged. All the flap linkage is installed. The rudder's installed. The elevators are installed. Basically, it's a pretty quick build. I've built 4 of them now, so I guess I'm biased on the building. However, when we build a manual, we have to build the plane to check the manual. We always do that. And one of our other developers, John Redmond, which I'm sure you've all, all met and seen and talked about.
John has a lot of fans.
He was very excited how quick this was to build. He said it was about a 4-hour build, and that included putting, you know, all detailing on and putting the servos in, and it's basically an installation of radio equipment. There's no gluing involved except for putting on the engine nacelles.
Yeah, I noticed that it's got a top hatch here, which I assume is access to some of the radio, as well as the wing attachment. Now, it is a plug-on wing, right?
That's correct. It's a plug-on wing. The struts do come off for more longer distance traveling.
I noticed that always makes such a clean installation because the fuselage isn't broken where the wing plugs on, so it's a nice, smooth thing there.
Another feature, too, the nose cone actually has a quarter-turn attachment with just a locating screw, so you can back out one screw and take the whole nose cone off and access, you know, your receiver battery or the nose wheel linkage or anything up in the front there. So we tried to make this aircraft very, very user-friendly.
Now, you mentioned the nose wheel, but this is a fixed-gear airplane. Though it's got some detail, you know, first look at it, you might think it's a retractable gear, but the nose gear's got some interesting detail, and the main gear's got a lot of fairings on it. So overall, that's very cool. But not having a retract gear, seems like most twin-engine airplanes have retractable gear, and I know that adds to the complication of building a model, but you've gone around that.
Well, that was one of the primary reasons we chose this subject. We just didn't want, you know, someone trying out a twin. Let's just keep it to trying out the two engines and not added complexity with retracts and so forth. And I think that's part of the character of this aircraft. It's very wide track, tricycle undercarriage. You know, we joke and call it the Alpha, the Twin Alpha. Yeah. That was its working name, because it really flies like our Alpha trainer with two engines. In actual fact, we did a lot of single engine testing on this aircraft. And with electric, we can use the anti rotation propellers, so you can have the counter-rotating propellers to optimize single engine performance. With a little bit of rudder trim, it just flies normal. There is no crisis involved. With Glow, the same thing. A little bit more rudder trim is required because we can't have the counter-rotating propeller. However, you know, I think you saw us, we were doing takeoffs and landings on one motor and shooting touch and goes. It's not what you'd try the first day out, but as your skills develop, it's possible. Yeah,
you mentioned those counter-rotating propellers that you can do with electric. That's just another thing guys can have fun with. You can make them both turn to the inside. I mean,
exactly.
Or you can make them both turn to the outside. You can make them both go the same direction or the opposite direction. Just having fun with the model because you can get that experience that you're talking about with single motor experience, or get the effect of flying it in different configurations. Modelers just love to do this kind of stuff.
Well, it's a great platform to dabble. You know, it's got opening doors in the side. I've had guys ask about parachutists jumping out and detailing and huge landing flaps, which we all like to play with. Because you can do steep approaches, shallow approaches. Well, the other thing with the electric power supply, we designed it around the most common electric system that we sell, which is the 25 series. So the 3200 E-Flight battery, the 25 series E-Flight motor, 60 amp speed controller. Everybody's got one of those in their Beaver or their Stearman. So they only have to purchase either one more system or they've got enough batteries from their other models. So we tried to think about the customer and what kind of equipment they had lying around. With testing, we've got between 8 and 10 minutes, depending on the power setting. This aircraft will fly on very low power setting, especially in the Glow format. It will cruise at about quarter throttle. So I wouldn't say it's overpowered. I don't think that's ever possible in America, but it has very lively performance with the two engines. Well, we spent a lot of time. The actual outline of this aircraft is very true. We got some good reviews from one of our team members, Dino DiGiorgio, who's a fantastic scale modeler, won Top Gun many times, and he got me some great drawings. And we didn't deviate really very much at all, just a few little areas just to make things fit, but basically it's a very accurate scale outline.
Okay. Well, thank you. I hope our viewers have enjoyed this preview, and take a close look at the Twin Otter as soon as you get a chance to see one. Thanks for viewing.
Thank you.